Hello everyone, I'm Chien, the playwright and director of Oiwa, the Ghost of Yotsuya. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we have to postpone the opening of the play. But be rest assured, Oiwa, the Ghost of Yotsuya will premiere in next year's Singapore International Festival of Arts in May 2021. Until then, we are lining up a series of online programs which will give you a behind-the-scenes look of our play as we prepare for the opening next year. So sit back, relax, and welcome to the World of Oiwa.
Oiwa, the ghost story of Yotsuya. A long time ago in the area of Tokyo known as Yotsuya, there was a masterless Ronin samurai named Iemon. He wished to marry a beautiful woman named Oiwa, but her father had heard of Iemon's past misdeeds and refused to allow him to marry his daughter. So Iemon murdered Oiwa's father. In order to win Oiwa's hand in marriage, he claimed that a local bandit had done the killings and promised that he would avenge his death. Believing him, Oiwa agreed to marry him. Time passed, and Oiwa gave birth to Iemon's son. But she grew sickly and weak after giving birth and never completely recovered. Iemon was forced into doing hard labor in order to support his family, and he grew to strongly resent his invalid wife. Soon, Iemon fell in love with another woman, Oume, who was the granddaughter of a rich doctor. Iemon schemed to murder his wife with Oume. Oume received some poison from her grandfather and gave it to Iemon, who in turn delivered it to Oiwa, telling her that it would make her stronger. Oiwa took the medicine and grew weaker and weaker, but it did not kill her. Rather, it disfigured her face, causing her eye to sag, her skin to scar over and bleed, and her hair to fall out in bloody clumps. Iemon, disgusted by Oiwa's mangled face, then bribed a local man Takuetsu to rape Oiwa so that Iemon would have grounds to divorce her. Takuetsu attempted to do so but was appalled by Oiwa's disfigured face. In the struggle, Oiwa caught her own reflection in a mirror. When she tried to kill Takuetsu with a sword in defense, Oiwa tripped and cut her own throat open with the sword. As she was bleeding to death, she killed her infant son so that he would not be raised by Iemon, and she cursed her husband with her last breath. Iemon married Oume. On their wedding night, Iemon saw a vision of Oiwa's ghost. He slashed at her, cutting off her head. But when he composed himself, he realized he had just murdered his new wife, Oume. Terrified, he rushed to his new father-in-law's house where he saw a vision of Oiwa again. He attacked Oiwa's ghost and ended up murdering his father-in-law too. Iemon took off, constantly pursued by Oiwa's ghost. Her ruined face followed him everywhere, even appearing in a paper lantern. He fled to the mountains, But when he went fishing instead of a fish, he caught the head of Oiwa. He fled to a cabin where the vines from the trees and the smoke from the fire transformed into Oiwa's hair, which ensnared him. Finally, Iyemon, having lost his mind, threw himself off a cliff to kill himself. But even in death, he saw Oiwa's face. It is said that she continues to haunt him even today. Urban myth goes that if one is walking along the streets of Yotsuya in Tokyo in the middle of the night, you can hear him screaming, with Oiwa laughing in the background.
In the Yotsuya neighborhood of Shinjuku City lies a shrine named Yunji Temple, where the statue of Lady Oiwa has been enshrined. This statue is renowned for its ability to fulfill the wishes of worshippers. Many locals make their way down to pray, perhaps for the same happiness and success that Oiwa enjoyed in her life. According to some people, the shrine is considered one of the most haunted places in Tokyo. However, most Japanese don't consider it haunted, and it was surprisingly busy, even on a weekday. At the entrance of the shrine, there is a wooden plaque that tells of a real-life Oiwa who lived 200 years before the kabuki play was first performed. However, she was happily married to her husband, and none of the events mentioned in the Yotsuya Kaidan ghost story ever happened. It is possible that her name was used in the original story out of jealousy of her success. So, where does Yotsuya Kaidan's reputation come from? Apparently, strange accidents have occurred during filming remakes of this classic ghost story. The real Oiwa died in 1636. It is rumored that she still haunts the places she lived, as well as those who performed her story. Mysterious disasters and deaths occurring around a number of productions, including theatre, film, and television adaptations, have been blamed on the curse of Oiwa's ghosts. There is a series of accounts that tell of the misfortune that befell those who tried to stage the Tokaido Yotsuya Kaidan play without first asking her permission and blessing, and were met with a string of Macbeth-like bad luck. It is a tale of tragedy, betrayal, vengeance, and the problems that dishonorable behavior can cause. A gravestone at Myogyoji in Sugamo, Tokyo, is widely believed to be Oiwa's actual grave. It is customary for actors and crew putting on a production of Yotsuya Kaidan to visit Oiwa's grave, as well as the Yunji Temple to pay their respects.
It was in 2014 when I first encountered the story of Oiwa. I was in Tokyo, Japan for another project, and I happened to be in Yotsuya, a neighborhood in Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. My liaison officer at the time and I happened to walk past a small shrine. She pointed at it and said, "TC-san, do you know that is the shrine dedicated to one of Japan's most vicious and famous ghosts?" That marked the beginning of my obsession with Oiwa. The genre of horror fascinates me. I've always wanted to tackle that in theatre. So the story of Oiwa presented a great opportunity for me to do that. For the next 3 years, my actors, designers, and I got down to work. First, the look. I want to transpose the original tale to an unspecified period in history to give it a timeless and universal quality. For the same reason, the set and costume designs take inspiration from Japan and the culture. But we only use them as references. And then we distill them and inject them with other influences to recreate the aesthetics and designs that are totally original, so that we can call them our own. For the performance, I've gathered a group of Japanese actors as well as Singapore actors. For the past 3 years, we have been devising and developing our performance vocabulary based on a traditional kabuki dance technique, which has actors simulating the movements of puppets so convincingly, you can't tell if they're real puppets or human actors. In that technique, another actor dressed up as the puppeteer pretends to manipulate this human puppet and thus complete this illusion. For Oiwa, we have adapted this approach to develop our own. And we take it one step further by having our puppeteers deliver their lines for their human puppet they are pretending to manipulate. With mask and costume to complete the illusion, you will think that the actors on stage are real puppets being manipulated by puppeteers speaking their lines at the same time. To pull this off, our actors had to go through many body reconditioning exercises. I devised several training techniques to deconstruct the actors' bodies so that they will look like moving puppets. The actors playing the puppeteers are dressed in black, and they have to coordinate their speech and delivery with the movements from the human puppets. The synergy between the lines and movement is enabled by the tight collaboration between the actors from both countries and designers for the masks and costumes as well. This stage illusion we are creating with the actors in turn enables some of the stage effects and magic you will be seeing. Together with the set design, music, sound and lighting effects, all these disparate elements will come together to form an organic whole to tell the story of Oiwa. It's probably going to be something that you have never seen before. I can't wait to show it to you when the play opens in May 2021. For now, 2 of my Japanese actors will present a short excerpt from Oiwa, the Ghost of Yotsuya.
「とてもつらい40の昼と40の夜だった。お岩は自分に負わせている痛みでうめいたりうなったりしないことは1秒たりともなかった。お岩は奇跡だと思っている薬のせいで痛みに依存するようになっていった。お岩の決意は固い。それが溶岩のように何度も何度もお岩を焼こうとも。
私今初めて他の誰かと一緒にいることが楽しい。自分の欲望という暗い穴に落ちてゆく。そのことが怖かったの。だからいつも人の幸せばかり考えていた。でも間違っていた。愛とは人に仕えることではなく、身や心の欲望でもない。 幸せとは自分を愛することなのね。幸せなら心が満たされ、喜びで魂が爆発しそうになる。
水銀と鉛でできた調合薬を何層にも何層にも厚く塗っていった。最初は髪の毛が落ち始め、やがて一本の髪も残らなくなった。次に顔の肉が溶け始め、もはや包帯を巻くこともできない。
過去、現在、未来のこと、生まれて生きてやがて死ぬ、その全てを分かち合わずにはいられない。今、時の流れと宇宙の誕生と死を私たちに結び合わせる。今、彼がここにいる。それは今まで切られることのなかった鎖の小さいけれど必要な一部になっている。そして共に新しい命をそうしている。
痛みのせいで肺の中からお岩は叫ぶ。その鳴き声はあまりにも恐ろしく、使用人たちは近くにいることが耐えられず、息子さえ連れ出してしまった。私は一人でお岩が痛みで目玉をかき出さないように腕を押さえつけていた。そしてずっと叫んでいるせいでお岩の声は潰れ、もはや人間のようには聞こえないのであった。
そのことに気がつくの。これは命、私のものだ。同じように彼のものでもあり、この子のものでもある。幸せ。自分なりに幸せを追い求めてきたのだから、恥じることではない。